Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're uncovering a story history almost forgot. In 1945, the atomic bomb changed the world forever. But the science that made it possible came from a woman whose name was nearly erased from history. She was denied a Nobel Prize, forced into exile, and written out of her own discovery. Albert Einstein called her our Marie Curie, and yet most people have never heard her name. This is the story of Lise Meitner, the physicist who unlocked the power of the atom and never lost her humanity. Lise Meitner was born in Vienna in 1878. She loved mathematics. She loved physics. She loved the invisible world of atoms. There was just one problem. In Austria at the time, girls' education ended at 14, and universities did not accept women. For most, that would have been the end of the story. For Lise Meitner, it was only the beginning. With a private tutor, she compressed 8 years of schooling into just 2. In 1901, when the University of Vienna finally opened its doors to women, she walked through them. She fell in love with physics under Ludwig Boltzmann, a man whose passion for atoms ignited her own. In 1905, she became only the second woman to earn a doctorate in physics from the university. But a degree did not mean equality. To stand at the center of scientific revolution, she moved to Berlin. There, Max Planck, who did not believe women belonged in physics, made a rare exception, because her brilliance was impossible to ignore. In Berlin, she met chemist Otto Hahn. It would become one of the most important scientific partnerships in history. But even genius could not defeat prejudice. She wasn't allowed in the main laboratories. The institute director claimed women's long hair was a fire hazard. So Lise Meitner worked in a damp carpenter's workshop in the basement. She used a separate entrance, had no salary, and if she needed a restroom, she had to walk to a restaurant down the street. For years, she worked like a ghost in the institution. And yet, she and Hahn discovered new isotopes. In 1917, they discovered protactinium. By 1926, she became Germany's first female physics professor. It seemed she had finally broken through. But history had other plans. In 1933, the Nazis rose to power. Lise Meitner was Jewish. She lost her professorship. Still, she stayed. She believed Germany, a nation of science and culture, would never truly abandon reason. She was wrong. In March 1938, Germany annexed Austria. Overnight, her passport became useless. She was trapped. At nearly 60 years old, she fled with 2 small suitcases and 10 marks in her pocket. 30 years of work left behind. She escaped to Sweden, alone, exiled, cut off from her laboratory, but not from her mind. In December 1938, Otto Hahn wrote to her. His uranium experiments were producing something impossible: barium, an element half the size of uranium. It made no sense. He asked her for an explanation. On Christmas holiday, Meitner walked through the snow with her nephew, Otto Frisch. They talked. They calculated. They imagined the uranium nucleus not as solid, but as a liquid drop, and then it clicked. When struck by a neutron, the nucleus could stretch, wobble, and split, like a droplet snapping in two, releasing smaller atoms, more neutrons, and a staggering amount of energy. Using Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, Meitner calculated the energy released. It was millions of times greater than any chemical reaction. Her nephew named it nuclear fission. The atomic age did not begin in a laboratory. It began on a snowy walk in Sweden. In 1945, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded for the discovery of nuclear fission. It went to Otto Hahn, alone. The man who conducted the experiment won the prize. The woman who explained the discovery did not. Her name was omitted, her role minimized. She would be nominated 48 times. She would never win. It remains one of the most controversial Nobel decisions in history. When the United States invited her to join the Manhattan Project, she refused. She would not build a bomb. After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the press called her the mother of the atomic bomb. She hated the title. She believed science carried responsibility. She criticized her former colleagues in Germany for staying under the Nazi regime. She never stopped standing for what she believed was right. Recognition came slowly. In 1966, she finally shared the Enrico Fermi Award. Element 109 was named after her, Meitnerium. Her name now lives in the periodic table. But perhaps her greatest legacy is not the atom she split. It's the integrity she never surrendered. Her tombstone reads, Lisa Meitner, a physicist who never lost her humanity. And that may be greater than a Nobel Prize.